Hi, here we are, the second part of this exciting project. I let a full day pass, and as you can clearly see, I have meticulously removed all the tape. I would confidently say that the decorations have truly stuck. They seem to have adhered exceptionally well after the entire night. It genuinely appears that they have stuck very well. At the very least, they should certainly stay firmly in place. After that, I carefully cut the decoration with a precise cutter because the box absolutely had to open. It's a little bit hard to cut, but in the end it was successfully cut in such a way that it opened perfectly. They were very careful throughout the process. Afterwards, I decided to perform a dry brush technique with them on the entire decoration to truly highlight its intricate details. I took a beautiful gold color that I had already prepared. It's practically very easy to make this specific gold. Now here, you can observe that I'm unloading it because to effectively do the dry brush technique, you absolutely need a very light brush application, because otherwise it simply won't come out correctly. It will smudge everywhere. Instead, you can clearly see that with this light application, you can witness how wonderfully the dry brush comes out. It practically only adheres to the surface. And to make this particular gold, it's incredibly easy, because if you visit my website, which is the rest of them at .com, you will find right in the pigments section high quality gold pigments and the binder, which is the glossy acrytyl. You simply take the pigments and the acrytyl and you create a combination of what you like best. Add a little bit of pigments and a little bit of binder to the acrytyl in the precise percentage you desire, depending on whether you want it more dense or less dense, and you can make the gold exactly as you like it. Here, you can make the exact quantity you want. Even if you only have to do a dry brush, you make very little, so in short, you can do it precisely as you want, and above all, you don't waste any of it because you make it in the exact quantity you need, and it's really truly easy. There are also some helpful shorts that I have made both on YouTube and on Facebook, where you can clearly see how to make this gold. It's genuinely easy. One important thing then, the gold also lasts for a very long time. You can keep it safely in a box, even for several months, so it lasts completely, being an acrylic product. Then I continued to meticulously do the dry brush, also on the sides, so I unloaded the brush again. So I highly recommend taking the color but unloading it very well on paper or on a cloth. Unload it thoroughly. And then I also applied it again on the side freezes. You can see how good it comes out. It really highlights the freezes beautifully. If you can also use a slightly old brush. Now, I don't have these specific brushes yet, but soon they will be available. However, if you happen to have a brush, a slightly old brush is generally better, especially with slightly old bristles. Then I also did it on the other side. You can see that it really doesn't smudge at all, and it perfectly highlights the frieze. I also did it on the front friezes, that is, it doesn't require much effort. The important thing is that it is unloaded, so you can even press and it won't smudge. Anyway, you can see that it really gives a touch of extra light and brilliance to the color. Here I'll show you precisely how to do them. Basically, I take the pigments, so I put like a teaspoon of pigments, and then I take the acrytyl and put about 3 teaspoons. So for 1 part of pigments, look for 3 parts of acrytyl, but then it truly depends on whether you want it dense or not as dense, exactly as you want it. Here now, I try to use the teaspoons a bit, and then I remember to mix it very well. I don't know if you can see it well now. It's a bit far from the camera. Anyway, you mix it very, very well and you get a perfect acrylic gold. I highly recommend mixing it really well. You see, mix, mix. You can observe that the more I mix, the more a well-made, truly sparkling gold comes out. Here now I'll show you better. You can see what a beautiful gold it has come out. Now I'll bring it closer to you so maybe you can see it even better practically. And the pigments that you find, I have the 1 kilo package, but on the site you find 80 bad, and this is the 1 kilo acrytyl. Now I'll show you in an opposite way because I took a sponge, one of those green ones, the ones from home, the ones that are typically used for the various dishes. On the yellow side I dipped a little gold, then I carefully drained it. You see, basically I don't dye it completely drained because otherwise it's too full, and then I apply it on the material stencil. And yes, it absolutely has to be drained because otherwise it will end up underneath.
In fact, a little before, perhaps I applied too much. Not so much drained a little. It ended up underneath. Anyway, it makes a really nice and appealing effect. Afterwards, you can see that I take it right from the paper and not from their way that it is exactly. Instead, it is exactly the sponge download, and I give it all over because since the gold paste wasn't exactly an intense gold, and since I gave the gold on the frieze, then I wanted a gold a little more intense also on the textured stencil. So I give it on the stencil made that gold paste. I also give it on the front part so that it is all homogeneous and consistent. This is a beautiful and effective technique that you can do with this sponge. You get really beautiful things. You see, I give it just that. In short, it is remaining very light here with the hand. It is a nice dry brush made that sponge here. And now I'll show you instead that I give it on the edge. So maybe you can also see the intensity of there if I can make it stay up here. You can see how intense the gold truly is. Really intense, really a beautiful and rich color, because I had thought of doing the gold leaf on the edges, but it seemed a little too shocking and contrasting compared to the dry brush that I had done on top. And so I thought of giving the same gold to the edges too, because it was more suitable. Here I moved it. Maybe you can see better, even if with the light. I don't know if you can see the color very well, but I tried to put it as close as possible so that you can see it well and clearly. And I also apply it right on the metal, yes, on the metal lock, because I'm sure that the rust won't come out because I had applied Sandraka underneath, so it didn't come out on the green. It doesn't come out on theirs either. Here you see that I apply it right here on the hook and on the bezel, because when I cut the frieze, the little piece at the top came off, so I put a little tape on it so that the little piece of the frieze also stuck a little. And now I apply a little gold on there too, so you can see that even that lock doesn't do anything. You can apply it. There are many surfaces for this gold. You can apply it on wood, on metal, on plastic. It sticks everywhere. You see here on the lock instead, the green underneath. But even if it wasn't there, it would have stuck anyway. Now I'll show you also. Maybe here with the light on this side, you can see it a little better. You can see it really. That's because with the light, it doesn't depend on how the light is positioned. Then with the green, it gets a little confused, but now instead you can see it well. Come on, with this light here. Well, no, it's like showing it to you in person, but you can see it clearly. You see what a beautiful color it is. It's really intense. Then I also finished the back box because rightly, it's not like you could leave the back different to stop. You always have to finish everything because otherwise it's ugly. This is how I continue. I finish it all. If you take a flat brush, you can also be precise. Now I decided to make a redesign stamp inside the box. You can always find these stamps on the MyRestyling website.
As in the section, the stamps are really stamps. You see that it's a silicone stamp. It's very cute. This one is the colorful one. I don't remember what it's called, but anyway, it's the colorful one. I obviously made some more gold in a little dish, and then it's better to use a roller to apply the gold on these stamps. As you can see, I take the gold with the roller and then I unload it well because it always needs to be unloaded, just like with stencils. If you take too much, it will smudge, so you really need to unload it well, even in a little tray. So now I'll show you. Let me move the camera a bit so you can see better. I take the gold, unload it. You see, I unload it well. Then I apply it, but maybe I unloaded it a bit too much. So I take some more and apply it all over the stamp. You really need to cover all parts of the stamp with the roller. Besides, these stamps are supposed to look a bit vintage, so they don't have to come out perfect. They never will. That's just how these stamps are made, and there will always be a part of the design missing, but that's intentional because it should look vintage. Now, let me move the camera so you can see well. Here, now I position it. I'll show you how it comes out. I place it here in the middle and then press it down well with my fingers. Make sure to really press it well, even all the corners and little spots, and be careful not to move it. Otherwise it will smudge. If you hold it with one hand and press with the other, you can avoid moving it. Anyway, I press it really well, you see, really press it down. Now I remove it. There, it came out just in vintage style. I lift it up so you can see it better, in a slightly vintage style. Now I want to do it on the other part of the box as well. I take the gold I already had. Anyway, I don't even need to unload it because I have so little, and the stamp was already covered in gold, so you don't need to put a ton of gold on it. I just use what I already had and finish with it. Slowly finish with the little dish. I don't finish the little dish because you would need a ton of gold for that. I just use what I already had. I finish what's in the little dish. I finish what's in the little dish. That's it. I also moved it a bit to see if I can show it to you better. I apply it well with the roller. Make sure to apply it properly, not too much or it'll smudge. But my roller is already almost dry because, as you can see, there's practically nothing left in the tray. And now I'm going to position it. I press it down well, but it just occurred to me that I had a roller. Let me grab it for you. I have a roller that I can't remember where I bought, but I'll show it to you now. Here, this roller helps you press it down better. I don't remember where I got it. Maybe you can find it on Amazon. Anyway, I remembered I had it in a drawer, and it's perfect for making stamps. If you're working on a long surface, even a rolling pin will work if you have one at home. This little roller is just perfect. Look, here, it actually turned out maybe even better than the other one because of the roller. Now I'll lift it up for you. I'll lift it up, okay? It's not like you can see it super well. Oh, now it's time to protect it, and I use my natural vegan wax. This wax is vegan, so it's not beeswax. You can find it on the website in the wax section. It's a completely natural and truly vegan wax, so it doesn't contain any animal-derived ingredients. And let's talk a bit about this wax. And in the meantime, you can apply it with this little brush I'm using, which you can also find on the website. It's a brush specifically for wax, and it's also made with synthetic bristles, so it's completely vegan. It doesn't have natural bristles, but it imitates them well, so the wax spreads perfectly. But let's talk about this wax. You can find it ready-made on the website, or you can make it yourself. There's a tutorial on YouTube called How to Make Vegan and Natural Wax at Home, where I teach you the exact proportions and everything you need to make this wax. And on our website, in the wax section on the MyRestyling site, you'll find the kit to make this wax at home. What is this wax made of? So you'll find a kit that includes a sachet containing candelilla wax and carnauba wax. Candelilla wax somewhat mimics beeswax, and carnauba wax is a very protective wax, so it forms a highly protective film. You'll find them together in this sachet, and then there's a small bottle containing jojoba oil and cooked wine oil. Jojoba oil in particular is extremely important because it acts as the solvent for this wax. It's a completely natural oil that's also used in cosmetics, even for the skin, so it doesn't cause irritation or allergies. It's just perfect. Even if you spread the wax on your hands, you'll see it almost feels like a cream, just like a hand cream really. It's absolutely perfect. Then basically, there's a recipe for using this kit, and there are also instructions on the website. And please, if you want to make the wax yourself using this kit, make sure to use only an electric hot plate. So don't use gas stoves or anything like that, only electric. There are also those little hot plates. If you don't have an electric stove, you can find those hot plates on Amazon for about 10 euros, you know, the ones that melt wax. And the wax is ready in no time at all. So you make it and it really takes very little. Like in 15 minutes, you're done. Then you just leave it there for half an hour, and it becomes solid. And you can use it. See how well it turns out? Now I'm applying it, and the green color becomes more and more olive. In fact, I told you it gets more intense when you apply the wax. One important thing that I'm going to show you now, after it's been applied, it needs to be removed right away with a microfiber cloth. You see that I'm removing it almost immediately, because if you take it off right away, the furniture, in this case, the little box or whatever you're working on, won't stay greasy. Above all, the wax cures better, so it takes less time. And as I said, it doesn't stay greasy. It takes less time to cure, and it cures much better. In other words, it forms a much more durable film if you remove it right away, if you wipe off the excess immediately. But you also need to press while wiping, meaning you really have to remove all the excess. Only a thin layer of wax should remain. You'll see that it becomes super protective because it contains carnauba, which is very protective and also water repellent. So once it's cured, even the next day, if you put a bit of water on it, it will repel it. That's why this wax is fantastic, because there really isn't another product like it on the market. And above all, you can even make it at home, so it's not necessary to buy our wax. Our wax is ready to use. It's quicker. If you buy it, it's faster. Otherwise, you can make it yourself with the kit, and you can make as much as you want, however you want, wherever you want. There are no vegan waxes available on the market, so this is the only wax you'll find that doesn't contain beeswax. Okay, so basically, this way we also protect animals and do things properly. Since it's possible to make a vegan wax, let's just leave the bees alone. You see, now I'm applying it on the inside as well. Maybe here you can see even better how the color turns more olive, because earlier with the outside light and the textured stencil it wasn't as visible, but here you can really see it well. It becomes a deep olive color. In fact, you really need to see the color at the end once the protective finish is applied. So basically, it's up to you whether you want to buy it ready-made or if you want to make it yourself with a kit. You really have two options. In the end, I decided to antique my little box with our own brown vegan wax, also our own product, which you can find on the website as well at MyRestyling.com in the wax section. And if you want to make it yourself, that's also very simple, because how do you make colored wax? Well, you take the regular vegan wax kit and make the vegan wax following the standard instructions, the neutral wax, and then you add the aniline dyes and the fats, which you can also find on our website. There are both brown and black colors available, and you add as much as you want. You can also make a mix of brown and black, or just brown, because right now the one you see here looks dark. But as you can see, when I remove it, it's not super dark. It becomes a nice light brown, a lovely vintage brown, which is perfect for antiquing. Here, you see, you just need to get into the corners well, make sure to apply it properly into the details, press it in well, then you remove it and it becomes a nice brown, so it's not that dark. We're using a mix of brown and black, but you can make whatever color you want. Here are the anilines, just black, just brown, or a mix. Right now I'm using one I made some time ago. In fact, I'm taking it from a little glass jar. I keep it there because these waxes don't really expire. They last for months. So I made it a while back and now I have this wax and I'm using it. You see, you need to apply it. I use circular motions because it's under the textured stencil, since I want to make sure it goes on really well. Thank you. Inside the stencil. So by using gentle circular motions, I'm sure I really get the product deep into the stencil very well. And then carefully I'll remove it with a soft clean cloth. I'll show you that process now. Then it also comes off easily because there's neutral wax underneath. So first you apply the neutral wax, then you apply the brown wax. If you want to remove it, you see now with the cloth you can easily wipe off the excess. Since there's neutral wax, the brown wax slides right off. And if you see that you haven't applied enough, you can go over it again. You see, I'm going over certain spots where I removed too much, I blend it in. Afterwards, you decide what level of antiquing you want to achieve, always based on your artistic vision. Right now I'm doing everything without gloves, so my hands are definitely going to get black. Well, it comes off with soap, but maybe put on a pair of gloves, those neutral ones, so it'll be easier to wash your hands afterwards. You can also apply it over the gold. You see it's applied over the gold too, but then it comes off. Gold, by the way, doesn't even need protection. I applied neutral wax to it just for convenience since I already had it there, so I put it on, but you don't have to because gold doesn't need protection. It's already protected. Since being acrylic, it's already sealed. You can see here on the side ornament how well it turns out. Now I'm going to remove it. It really creates an antique effect. Make sure to remove it well around the ornament too, so that the effect stays even. The important thing is to press it in well so it gets into the ornament, because for antiquing, if you want to imitate an antique look, the dust always settles inside the ornament. So press it in well, put it inside, and then remove it. If you haven't put enough, just add more like I'm doing until you're happy with the result. You can do the patina however you like. It's entirely up to you. The important thing is to always apply the neutral wax underneath so it comes off easily. Do you see what a beautiful satin effect it gives in the light? That's because there's also the vegan wax underneath and that we had removed. The little box is finished. I'll show it to you. Now I'm making a video to show you how I finished it. Then I'll also put it on the website. You'll find it in the furniture section. If you want to buy it, maybe someone needs a little box and doesn't feel like making one, this one's already done. If you like it, great. If not, you can make your own. And I'll show it to you. Here it is. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel to support me. And if you're watching this on Facebook, at least leave a like. And if you want to comment, I'd appreciate it. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Otherwise, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Anyway, maybe also give a like on YouTube so you support me and I can make more videos for you. Bye. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.